Thank you. We'll get started. Chihkai LIN is going to share about cliticization of oblique case marker in Sakizaya.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Chihkai LIN from National Taiwan University of Science and Technology. Okay, the outline of today's presentation is that there are 5 parts. Okay, introduction, purpose, results, discussion, and conclusion. And first, introduction. Let me briefly talk about Formosa languages in Taiwan. Okay, Sakizaya is Formosa languages spoken in Eastern Taiwan. Okay, quite small. Right now there are less than 500 native speakers. Okay, so it's quite endangered. And it originally it is recognized as part of the Amis, but actually no, they cannot talk to each other. Okay, so that's the language where it is spoken in Taiwan. Okay, according to Shen, and 2016, 18, and 22, she discussed there are 3 case markers in Sakizaya. The first one is nominative with a key type. Okay, as you can see, the gu is K, KU, or for proper noun it's CI, so it is capitalized. So it becomes chi, or cha, or tini. And there, the second type is genitive, and usually I call it N type, because every word start with the nasal, ni, or na, or ni, or nu. And also it's oblique, okay? And I call it a T type because of in the general nouns it is du. Okay, and there are different forms for the case markers. And for proper nouns, there are singular and plural forms, and for general nouns, that's another. So in total, there are 5 forms. Okay, and let's look at some examples. The first one, according to Shen's data, the sentence is, I'm not a native speaker of this one, so please allow me to read in a Chinese way or in an American way. Okay, okay, so the gu here is a nominative. Okay, so it usually introducing another noun and to form a noun phrase. And do, that's oblique, and nu is the genitive. And also we can have the second example, by nu maguji daimu. Okay, here the nu magu is the genitive, nu is the genitive case, and G is again a nominative case marker. And for do, the oblique case marker, and it's a sentence. I practice this a lot. Okay, mi ligat du lamal. Okay, this is one. Okay, lights the fire. And Ami Sangashi do Ladi Lutan. Okay, the bath water. So actually there are 2 sentences. Okay, it's a light the fire and boil the bath water. Okay, so here the do is the oblique case marker. Okay. So in my study, I like to compare the syntax and phonology and to see the interface of the syntax and phonology. So let's look at the syntax or the syntactic structure of the 3 sentences. So mugwan is a verb that's clear, and in the second line, utsabai is a noun, it's a nominative, it's a noun phrase. And minigatsu is another verb. Okay, but after that, okay, it could be a nominative case mark, a nominative noun phrase, or genitive noun phrase, or oblique noun phrase. So we can have gu babalaki, and that's an NP. And then following, that's do jiji nu babui, that's another NP, another noun phrase. And in the second sentence, the longer is 1 NP, 1 genitive noun phrase, and jidamu, that's another NP. Okay, introduce the binominative case marker. And also we have another one in third sentence, do la ma. Okay, that is oblique noun phrase, another NP. So that's the syntax. But for phonology, that's a different story. And we will say the first one, the mugani, is a prosodic word, PW. And for utabai, that's a phonological phrase. And for medibat, that's another prosodic word. And also we can have 2 phonological phrases after the prosodic word. Okay, let's say the first one, or another 2 noun phrase, phonological phrases after the second, okay, the second sentence. or there's the oblique case marker introduced. Okay, my eyes so quick. Okay, so the third one is another oblique now phrase. So that's phonology and syntax. But one thing is happening when I'm doing field work, probably 15 years ago, when I was a student. I'm just confused about the syntax and about the phonology when the native speakers are speaking, when we're not talking, or when we're doing the transcription. So I noticed that there's a phonological phenomenon. It's called cliticization. It's a phonological process where words lose their status and they become parts of the preceding or following words. Okay, the cliticization of the case marker in Sakizaya has been discussed by Lin in 2020, and who has adopted a corpus approach to probe into the cliticization of nominative and genitive case markers. So let's look at some examples. Okay, for the first one, on the left, the phonology and the syntax show the same. They are the same. Okay, the phonological structure and the syntactic structure are the same. Okay, so there's an XP and there's an MPFP. Okay, so in phonology, there will be prosodic word and phonological phrase and a phonological phrase. But the example on the right, that shows cliticization. So as we can see that there's XP, okay, and the GU, that's a nominative case marker. It becomes part of the preceding word, okay? So clearly there's a pause here between a GU and a ganamuhan. Okay, so it becomes part of the preceding word. And also the nu here is a genitive case marker. Syntactically speaking, it should be part of the following word. But phonologically speaking, is part of the preceding word. Okay, so whenever doing field work, I was confused by this phenomenon. I was, why are we speaking this way? So I'm interested in this a lot, so I started to do this. So in 2020, Lin also suggests that the closer to a predicate the case markers, okay, the more likely the case markers are cliticized. And Lin calls this distance effect. Okay, and also there are some unsolved problems or issues. And in Lin's study, he only investigates the phonological representation of case markers, okay, but as we can see, there are 3 case markers, and he only did nominative and genitive. And one thing is missing, and that is the topic of today's presentation, oblique case marker. And also, I would like to see if distance effects, okay, is also possible for oblique case marker. So here comes the 2 questions. The research questions are there any new tendencies for oblique case markers, okay, when it is included in this data? And also, does distance effects still exist when oblique case markers are taken into account? So these are the 2 questions I would like to know more. Okay, so here comes the corpus. So this corpus is based on an online dictionary of Sakizaya, and the data are extracted by using the keywords do. Okay, so you can download the PDF file. So the dictionary online, you can download it, and you can just use the search and find, okay, do, so you can find a lot of sentences. Okay, and in this study, I'm not going to discuss the plural form because it is quite rare in the dictionary. So this is the website. You can see everything is in Chinese, so you have to know Chinese. So if you're going to use this, you need to find the Chinese native speakers to help you, or you are the native speaker of Chinese. So I'm sorry, there is no English version of this one. But this is quite useful because they have all the 16 languages. The dictionary, online dictionary, it's quite useful. Okay. So all the collected data are scrutinized and specifically select according to the following criteria. First, in order to compare with Lin's results, only sentences with 2 case markers. Okay, so that would be predicate versus NP1 and NP2. In the following order, the nominative case marker plus another oblique case marker are chosen. Okay, so the opposite is not taken into account in this study. So there's no oblique plus nominative in this study. For example, miada kuola tu babalaki. Okay, this is a sentence. The child relies on the elder. So miade is the verb. Okay, thank you very much. And kuola is the nominative noun phrase. And do babalaki is the oblique noun phrase. So every sentence look like this in my data. Okay. And there's another one that's called a demarcation of the case marker, and the ordering are marked according to the sound files. Okay, if there's no sound file, okay, the sentence is deleted or it's not used. Okay, only the one with the sound file will be analyzed. Okay, so there are 4 possible demarcations of the case markers. Okay, either the first one on the left. So what does that mean? If there's a pause, clear pause, or a pitch change before the case marker. Okay, so there is a bracket on the right, on the left, or on the right. Okay, if there is a pause or a pitch change after the case marker. Okay, this is the second. Or the third one is both. Okay, before and after. Or the fourth one, none, which means that there's no pause before or no pause afterwards. Okay, let's see the results. In total, there are 185 sentences are analyzed in this study. Okay, so here comes the very, very confusing one. Okay, as we can see that, okay, the first part is that the first MP for the nominative case marker, there is a pause after the gu or ji. Okay, there are more than one at the cat. 125 sentences, okay, in this way. But in the middle, there's no example, no sentence like, okay, there's a pause before the nominative case marker. No. Or it is also possible that there's no pause before and after the nominative case marker. Okay, there are probably 60 sentences. Okay, so that's the basic distribution of the data in this study. Okay, so let's look at some examples. For example, the one miada gubawa to babalaki. Again, the ku is part of the preceding word. Okay, there's a clear pitch change here. It's a fall, right? And wawa do. Okay, so there's another chunk. So the wawa do as one, phonologically speaking, and babalaki is in the one. So there are 2 demarcations, and one after gu and one after do. Okay. The other one is this one, and there's only one demarcation after the do. Okay, as you can see, there's probably it looks like there's a long pause here. Actually, it's not. It's something to do with the glottal stop. Okay, the glottal stop makes it there's a blank area here. So it's nothing to do with the pulse. Conceptually, you cannot hear any pulse. Okay, but acoustically, you see there's just a blank area here. It's something to do with the glottal stop. Okay. So discussion. In this paper, I got only 2 case markers. Oblique case marker do show the similar pattern as nominative and genitive case markers do in demarcation. Okay, if you look at the data, and I compare with Lin's study. Okay, the one on the left is taken from Lin's study in 2020, and the one on the right is the study right now. Okay, if we compare these 2, so they are in a very similar ordering. XP plus nominative, and then another one. So in Lin's study in 2020, there will be nominative plus genitive. And in my study right now is nominative plus oblique. Okay, so if we compare them, okay, let's just try to do some mathematics. Okay, so if we compare these 2, the nominative case marker in the first position or the first noun phrase, it's useless to compare them. Okay, as you can see that there's a 0. Okay, so it's meaningless to compare them. Okay, to do any chi-square test. But if we move on to the second noun phrase, okay, and we can see that between group comparison of the genitive noun phrase and the obligate noun phrase, there is a significant difference between them. So, which means that for the second noun phrase, okay, either it's genitive or oblique, they have different behavior. Okay, so I would like to see more about the details. So I'll get into and I also try to compare them. So if we look at the first one, when the first noun phrase is fixed. Okay, so I'm not going to deal with the first one. I'm going to compare the second one when the first noun phrase has the right demarcation. So if we compare them, we can see that there's a significant difference between them, between the genitive case marker and the oblique case marker in terms of demarcations. But if we look at the second one here, when there's no demarcation in the first MP, there's no significant difference between the second noun phrase. Okay, so if we just compare them, so there is something different here. So clearly, here comes my conclusion. So I would like to answer the two questions in my conclusion. Are there any new tendencies for oblique case markers, and does distance effects still exist when oblique case markers are taken into account? Okay, this is first one. If we look at this two, yes, we can say that there's a notable distinction emerges in the demarcation of the second noun phrase between a genitive and an oblique case markers. Okay, especially in the second one. Okay, so this is what math taught us. Okay. However, for the second question, is there any distance effects so far? And according to Lin's distance effect, when the sentences become longer, the case markers that are distant from the predicates should be less likely to be cliticized. Okay. Okay, if we look at the data and we compare them. So far, we got only 3 sets of data. Okay, the one on the left, the two on the left are taken from Lin's study, and the one on the right is the current study. So if we look at how he gets the distant effect, he talks about the nominative case marker in the first position and the nominative case marker in the second position. Okay, so there is a difference between 75% and 64%. Okay, but when it comes to the study here, it's 71%. Okay, the oblique case marker in the second position will show more tendency to be cliticized. Okay, so probably we can say that it also found, but it's quite weak so far, that distance effects still exist in the oblique case marker in this group. Okay. Finally, here comes the final conclusion. Okay, the analysis of the case marker, the oblique case marker in Sakizaya from a corpus-based approach, have again suggested that the case markers prefer right demarcation. This is quite clear. Okay, either it is nominative, genitive, or oblique right demarcation is preferred. And the demarcation interacts with the positions, either it is the first MP or the second MP, and the categories, which means you are nominative, genitive, or oblique of the case markers. For further studies, the order of oblique plus nominative case markers should be included in a corpus. This is something I'm doing right now. To compare with the one in this study and the one in the Lin's study 2020. Okay, thank you very much for your time.